All right, it's another beautiful day here in Melbourne, Australia. It's 9:50 p.m., right? 3rd of December, near the end of the year, the last month of the year. And I kind of want to do I would say like a quick recap of my year and some lessons I learned, mostly from Thailand and yeah, mostly from Thailand because I spent like 4 months there, right? Yeah, I have some notes here that I did like a brain dump through ChatGPT, and then, I conceptualized it, split up into a few sections, so I'm not rambling too much. Okay, I don't know how long this video. Maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't know, but let's see. Right, so I want to first start off from when I decided to leave high school, so I didn't finish the last year, okay? And the main thought behind that was that I knew that whatever I did, let's say I left high school, whatever I did, let's say if I still stayed in high school, like I knew in myself I wouldn't go to TAFE, I wouldn't stick it out through uni. Like I knew before those years, before let's say whenever I got out of uni, like 22, that it's not worth it for me, right? Like even if I failed 2 years, but then the last year it all changed, it's still ahead of everything else. So that was one thing, right? And then, but right after, like, I was kind of drifting because I kept trying something, but I was in such a bad state that I was still holding on to this version of myself that when, um, I was still winning in a sense, right? But, but like, it's just I was holding on to it, and I could never like break free of that. And what made it worse was when I did leave high school, I went through a period of my life where I was isolated, a bit lonely. I I lost myself for a second, and I really needed to understand, what the type of person I am and who I wanted to be, right? And I still grinded. I still kept trying because I did believe that it'll work out. And, I'm still trying. But yeah, it is what it is. We gotta keep going, right? And before that period, before I went to Thailand, which was basically for half the year, I felt stuck. I felt unsure, a bit disconnected with myself, essentially. And then that's when I started to really dive deep into, these self-help things where, it allows you to kind of understand yourself more, be aware, and, all sorts of stuff, right? And the one thing I really did come across was stoicism, uh, different type of philosophies, but mostly it was stoicism that really stuck with me because it's something where it just gives us a sense of when we think too much, it's always just in the mind. It's not actually the reality, right? So once I got that out of my system, I became a bit more free, I began to detach from a lot of things and essentially made me less anxious. And yeah, I think I do have, because I read this book a lot too. And in stoicism it talks about the dichotomy of control, where if you do not um wait yeah, right, the control of choice, right, differentiating between what we can and what we can't this is basically the one thing I really, really resonated with, because it just makes sense, right? If I can't control something, why do I worry too much about the, like, why do I worry too much about it? Let's say, for example, a few big things a lot of people probably face is criticism from other people, maybe opinions from others, or thoughts others might have on them. Let's say, your family or friends, right? Basically, you think about it like this: what can you control? Can you control what they think about you? If you can't, why should you worry about it too much? Like, just let them think, right? Or let's say for relationships, um, you put what you can control is the inputs and the effort you provide into said relationship. But if they don't, reciprocate that back to you, then do not worry too much, because you know in your heart that you tried your best, but they just didn't reciprocate it back, right? So you become detached from these type of emotions that normally how do I call it, make us feel very, like, fogged in the head, right? Now I want to talk about when I did go to Thailand, which, when was this? I'm pretty sure end of June, like start of July, right? And something I really thought about when I was in Thailand was, why did I go? What was it I was going for? Like, I thought I was just going there to, you know, understand my home country, like my roots, where it came from, but no, I really believe that I went there to escape from a version of myself that I wasn't happy with, that it didn't feel like me, that, the version of myself that I didn't believe was worthy, right? And then now I really understand, when I did come back, is that version of myself was someone who didn't reach their goals just yet. But now I told myself, before going back to Thailand, I will, prove to myself that I'm worthy of going back or even doing anything. All right. So that's one thing I understood. I became aware, and I believe that things happen for a reason. Like, even though I'm not Christian or believe in said God, but I do believe that things happen for a reason, and that, if we become aware of why they do happen and then learn from it, then, it all kind of falls into place, like the domino effect. All right. And yeah, that's the thing. Like, I do believe that a lot of people that do go escape from their home countries, like where they normally live, let's say Australia, England, America, and they go to these Southeast Asian countries, they really think their problems are going to disappear with them, right? But now I think about it, and I realized that is that no matter where you go, you bring your problems with you, and the best way to fix those problems is to first face it head on and keep trying until it goes away. But, doing that is uncomfortable, and going to Asia was a comfortable feeling, because it's easy. It's like you just go there. It's like it's not like hard or pushes you, right? But Thailand did teach me a lot of things that I do believe, will allow me to become a whole different person become the person that will reach those goals that I put for myself, right? So here are some things that Thailand really did teach me about myself, and also about, life in general and other people. The first thing is obviously gratitude. You know, with gratitude, here, maybe when something goes wrong, or we feel like, oh, it's not good, right? Like, we're stressed or this type of thing. But like, now I can always think in my head that there's always someone doing it, like having it worse than us. Like, we can never really say, oh, it's rough. Yeah, it's rough, but someone out there doesn't even have like actual walls on their house. They don't have like an actual kitchen, right? Like, the food there is not clean. Like, that's worse. And they're doing fine. Like, who am I to say that, oh, um it's rough, right? That's one thing, gratitude. And that the energy when you go outside, it just feels very different from here. It's like the people, they smile at you, maybe they just say a compliment, or just randomly start talking friendly and whatever, and you just begin to become grateful and thankful for the small things in life. And yeah, I really do believe, you know, that has helped me grow as a person. Obviously, also presence, becoming present in the daily life that we are living in, not always living in the past, becoming a victim, or living in the future, living too far ahead where we never actually live. I used to do this, always living in the future and becoming anxious, right? But when I went to Thailand, like, the day was slow sometimes. People took it day by day, and then you started to become thankful for the few interactions you had, or the food you ate, or the person you talked to, right? And yeah, I just felt like my energy was better. I became a better person, you know? And then the next thing that taught me was kindness. Like, in Thailand, there's this thing called saving face, or Grang Jai, right? Where people tend to become very considerate of others' feelings before ourselves. I really believe I was a selfish person before this, until I went there, and then I started to, like, my friend taught me this, right? Jiwoo, he taught me this, that you give, you get. And I felt that sometimes too, where, maybe even you didn't have a lot of money, but you still gave something, and it's just like energy that protects you in many ways, and you eventually will build up so much that it's impossible for you to not get back, right? And then, you keep your ego in check and all this type of stuff by being friendly towards others, being kind, and just, yeah, when everybody's kind to you, you'll be kind back, and everybody is nice, right? And one thing, if you do it right, you'll realize how, your energy and frequency will change. Like, when I first went there, my friend really tried to put me onto a book by Neuro Knowledge on, frequency and all this type of stuff, but I was very ignorant, right? I didn't believe in all this type of stuff, because I thought, oh, I only believe in like science, input output, this type of thing. But then I started to become aware of it. Like, I went to temples more. I started to notice it, where when I felt a certain way or had this certain thing in my head and this certain energy, that bad things started to happen, right? But then when I started to be a bit more kind, maybe let go of this thing a bit more, etc., right? I I noticed things came back to me like a few times where, I noticed that I was riding too fast on a motorbike and I had my ego up. I noticed that slowly, day by day, I nearly had crashes. So I slowed down. I became aware, you know, because I didn't want to have a big crash. And then I noticed when I started giving some tips, some cash or some stuff, like maybe some clothing I didn't want away to a homeless guy that needed more than me, like on my flight back from Thailand, there was this guy who was so kind. Like, he gave me his food that, he didn't want. And I really believe that because of what I did on the last day of in Thailand, that I gave my, you know, Nike Dunks away. I gave some money. Like, I gave it to a homeless guy that needed more than me, right? Like, I really believe it came back just like this, and then just become a better person overall. And the very last thing is obviously community versus individualism. Whoa, individualism. Okay, how many of you guys that live in Australia, America, Europe, always feel that everyone is in their own world, is isolated, doesn't want to care or talk or all this socialize with other people? Well, it's true, because what they like to say is that in in the East or in Asia mostly, it's kind of more of a community. Everyone likes to talk to each other, looks after each other, and all this type of good stuff, right? But in the West, everybody is more focused on what's happening in their daily life, and like can't even crack a smile at other people, or wave at other people, or just say something. And let's say when you do, people are gonna take that as like a smart ass compliment, or just like you're saying something. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's crazy. But yeah, that's the one thing I really did like about over there, is that everybody's just so open to talk and friendly. It's good, But what really changes is realization, and I'm pretty glad I realized a lot of stuff, a lot of little things about myself during the past year, like all the little moments. And now, big 2026, 19 years old, I gotta prove what I learned. I gotta prove what, I went through, or else I didn't learn anything, right? But yeah, always something that kind of gets me in my mind is like, do I just don't talk to anyone and until I make it, or do I still have this vision but still try and build relationships with people? I don't know, but let's see. But I wonder what you guys do too. Yeah, it's good. I don't know if any of you guys ever went to Thailand or ever realized all these too about yourself. Or when did you realize stuff about yourself? Were you already old were you young, maybe late 20s, early 30s, etc. uh, you can message me on Instagram, or subscribe to me would be great too. Leave a comment, I'll reply, we can have a conversation. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. I don't know what it'll be about, but I kind of just whatever comes to my mind, whatever I feel like, you know, it's worth. It's not worth talking about, but it's just like worth sharing out to people that maybe will resonate with what I'm trying to say and all this type of things. And basically just to look back on the type of person I was right now in this present moment, when I'm a completely different person in the future. I believe everybody should do this too. I don't know why I was so scared to even do it, but the fear from others' opinions is very much true. And I'm rambling a bit, but Alex Hormozy talks about this too, where if we really think about it, like when we say we're scared of others' judgment, who is it that we're actually scared of? Like the actual people. And then we think, like, it's just this person, like, what the fuck? But yeah, catch you in the next one.